For today's lesson in Excel, we are going to be performing a sales analysis. And the objectives and the purpose of today's lesson is to demonstrate and to learn how to enter and copy formulas in a worksheet. So you should have your Gadgets data file open, and we will be prepared to start. Okay, so our problem today is that you are the accountant for a business that has several store locations around the country. You are trying to determine if stores are meeting their sales quotas. So you have gathered the data from each store, as you see in our spreadsheet here, and we've created this data file, and it will be used today to calculate the net sales and the above quota for each of the stores. Okay, so you see the column D and the column F that do not have any numbers, and then you also see row 10, 11, 12, and 13. These are the columns and the rows that we will be entering formulas and functions in for today's lesson. Okay, so at this time we want to compute net sales, so click in D4. And you know that when we are going to start a formula or perform a calculation, we always have to start with the equal sign. So we're going to equal. And to determine net sales, we have to think about what formula we need. And we are going to use sales minus returns. Okay, so to create this formula, I'm going to use the point and click method, and I am going to click on B4 to select that cell, and then I'm going to subtract and point and click on C4. Okay, so our formula is equals sales minus return, which is represented by B4 minus C4. And at this time, you can press the enter key, and the results should return. Okay, so then when you click on D4, you see the value, but up here in the formula bar, you see the formula. Okay, so now very quickly, you can use this little square in the bottom right corner. Notice how your mouse pointer has changed. Left click and drag it down to row 9 to copy that formula into those cells. The formula will copy relative to the row that you have pasted it to. Okay? Now the next step is to click in F4, because now we want to determine which stores have met their quota. So remember, we have to start with the equal sign. Okay, and to compute above quota, we are going to take net sales, which is represented in D4, so click D4, and this time we're going to subtract the value in the sales quota, which is E4. So the formula should be stated as equal D4 minus E4. Press enter. Oh, so they did not meet their quota, and that's what the parentheses represent. So at this time, go back up to F4 to where your formula has been written, and click on the fill handle to copy the formula down to row 9. Okay, so all the stores met their quota except for 2. Okay, so our next step in this process right now is to create a total. Okay, so when we see the row total, that means we want to add these values up for each of these columns. Okay, so if you click in B10, at this time we can use a function, okay, a built-in formula to determine the total or the sum for our sales. So we're going to come up here to the editing section on the home tab, and we're going to click the auto sum button. At that time, it suggests a range. Check your range to see if it's the correct values that you need, and if it is correct, press enter. Okay, so that was a whole lot of adding done very quickly. So now, once again, using the fill method, we can place our mouse on the little square in the bottom right corner and use the fill handle to copy the formula over. All right, so all the hard work's being done in a very quick way. All right, there's other built-in functions that we can use. This time we want to use the function to determine the average. So we're going to click in the cell that we want the value to be returned. And then we're going to come up here once again to the drop down underneath or beside auto sum. And this time, instead of choosing the sum, we want to choose the average. Okay, but this time look at the suggested range. It's not correct because it's including the total. So this time we have to redefine our range by selecting the cell references we really want to use. Once we've reselected our range and made sure that it's correct, then we can hit enter and it returns the value, and then we can fill that function across. We're going to repeat those steps to find the maximum and the minimum. Make sure you have the correct range, hit enter, fill the value across. And then minimum, following the same steps, choosing the correct function, selecting the correct range, hitting enter, and then using the fill handle to copy the formula to the respective columns. Okay, so for the quarter, we have all of our totals. We found the average, and we found the maximum, and we found the lowest. Okay, so now a good step is to create a chart of the data to reflect the sales analysis for the stores for the above quota. So to create the chart, we need to define some ranges that we want to use for the chart. So first of all, I want to create a pie chart. So I want the store locations to be reflected. So I'm going to select the labels for those store locations. So I'm going to select A4 through A9. And then I want to select a non-contiguous range. So I'm going to hold down Control. And then I'm going to come over here and I want to select F4 through F9. And then when I have the correct ranges selected, I can then go to the Insert menu and create a chart. And I want to choose a 3D pie chart. And look how quick and easy that was. Okay, you can move your chart over here below your data. You can resize your chart. And then you can also give it a chart title. And for this instance, we want to use first quarter sales analysis. Oops. Need to remember how to spell. First quarter analysis. Okay, and one thing, we've got our legend down here, but we can also add some data labels to reflect those values for each of those stores. Okay, how quick and easy was that? So at this time, let's save our spreadsheet, File, Save As, navigate to your folder, and put Data Completed. And then save this file because we'll be using it in our next lesson where we will learn how to format the spreadsheet to make it look nicer. Okay, so y'all have a great day.